For a session presented by Publicis Sapient, please welcome Vice President of Product Management for Artificial Intelligence for Publicis Sapient, Ed Vanga, and Vice President of Digital Innovation and HVMB Product for Marriott International, Nitin Sood, in conversation with SkiftX Out of Studio, Jeremy Kressmann.
Ed, Nitin, it's great to have you both here at the Data and AI Summit today. We're going to talk about a really cool collaboration between Publicis and Marriott on this new intuitive AI-based search tool. It's called Search with AI for Marriott Homes and Villas. Drew mentioned it this morning, and I'm here with two of the masterminds behind creating it. I want to get into how it functions and why you made it. I want to set the stage by asking you both about this trend, in the technology context of what's happening right now to frame this. Our founder, Rafat, has talked about this idea of the tyranny of the search box. Nitin, what does that mean to you, and why is that important in the context of what you've been building for Marriott Homes and Villas?
Hey, thanks for having us. The phrase always resonated with me when I was thinking about with Ed, like what to do. We were just so mesmerized with what GPT had done, and we were like, how does it apply to us? Mm-hmm. And what can we do with it? And this tyranny of the search box, I thought was a catchy thing that never left me, because no matter what you wanted to do, how you wanted to travel, there are so many flavors of thought and depths of thought in how you think about how you want to travel. You have to all boil it down to one word. What is the name of the destination that you want to go to? It is not representative of what you want to do. All the research is happening outside, right. And this one box just forces action on your part and saying, you do the heavy lifting, you do the hard work. All I can help you with is when you put the name of the destination in. So that was the initial journey on what we wanted to solve for.
Yeah, for me, it was, I guess, less about the tyranny of the search box directly, and more about, I think about every product problem like a product manager.
Sure.
And every step in the conversion funnel. And what I thought was truly interesting and unique about this approach was that we could have a conversation with the guest one step up in the funnel.
Right.
Where we're asking you, what do you want to do, instead of where do you want to go? Mm-hmm. And that gives me a whole new place to refine an experience, to continue to capture you and help you down that funnel and send you on your best vacation.
I have to ask you both a follow-up. You think about AI and how it's been deployed to date, and it's often in the form of a chatbot, right? People go and they get customer service query. Why didn't you use a chatbot here? Why did you go to search as the layer for this particular product?
Well, I wish I could claim credit and sound smarter than I am. We did start with a chatbot.
You did? Okay.
So
what happened?
We built a full functioning prototype in no time, and one of the mantras that we had was, we want to be the first, we want to be the first, we want to be the
Sure.
first to solve things. And we built the chatbot. We just found some fundamental issues with our implementation. So no disrespect to anybody who's building chatbots, it's just with our implementation of it, which was that we thought that search is very visual, travel is very visual. Right. And chatbot, to a lot of people, when we started talking to them, had the connotation of customer service. And what we were trying to do was bring delight to the search itself. And so how do I take your mental model of a connotation of customer service, and when do you engage with customer services when you're in trouble? And so there's a negative cycle of, I thought, what was happening inside. And then how do I take a travel search, which is so visual in nature? You pick a house, you pick a hotel based on pictures for the most part, right? Right. And so how do I take all of that visual stuff and fit it into this small window of chatbot? It was just not gelling well.
Sure.
And that was, we fully committed and made our chatbot. And then one day I remember us coming in and we said, we're going to throw this out. We're not going to go out with this to our customers. We're going to build it right.
That's true.
We're going to give it just as it deserves.
What was heartbreaking about that entire thing is, as you're building something, you get emotionally invested, or at least I do. Nitin's a little better at not being emotionally invested. And we put the product out, and we did some research, and we listened to what the customers were saying, and it was very clear, both from internal research and from what the customers were saying, that was the message. And still I was like, no. And then I had to like go back and remind myself the same thing I've told my team like a thousand times.
Right.
So saw the Steve Jobs video earlier. Most of us aren't that.
Yeah.
Right? Like trying to skate where the puck is going is one thing, but it's a completely different thing to say, I know better and I'm going to tell you what you want.
Right.
And I had to walk away from that. And I think it was the right choice, but it certainly wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of behavior change. It's very expensive.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of tech mystics out there spinning aphorisms about how to get to where you want to go, but really it's about the iterative aspect of this, right? And we'll talk about that collaboration in a second. Nitin, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the actual search with AI tool. Give us the 30-second elevator pitch of what it is. If you can fit it into that, there's a lot of other things I want to ask you about. So why did you build this and how is it built, driven by these changing factors that you're seeing in the market?
It was built because there's a lot of connecting conversation with every speaker who's come here, and I'm really liking how we are all thinking the same things. It was built with a thought of that where is the customer at that moment?
Right.
And where they are in the search box. So when we thought, hey, and then there was a whole plethora of trip planners coming around. So who owns the trip planner space? Is trip planner needed? Even if you were to build a perfect trip planner, I think it has to happen. You have to meet the customer where they are. And where they are is not that they are on your full site. They are just in a component of your site at one point. Right? So
Right.
how do you think about your guest in that way? So what we did is we opened up the destination box. Now we have an alternative way. We are still committed to the destination box because, as I said, I don't have money for behavior change to convince you otherwise. Yeah. So
Right.
so how do we test it? And there was no playbook. We had no idea what we were doing when we started. We had to learn it all. We had to sort of grab everything from the user and just iterate, learn. So what we went with was that here's a search box. You can opt into searching with AI. Also, I don't think AI is for everybody at all the time. That's just, I don't agree with that statement at all. If you want to come to New York for Skift and this is the hotel you want closest, you know how to search it, right? It's not for you at all times. So our implementation takes care of a lot of those nuances in terms of opting in, but opting in and meeting you where you are.
Sure. You've gotten back some interesting queries from people when they've searched in this tool. Can you talk to me about some of the things you're getting? Because I think there's a lot of nuance when people search for things that if they were just putting in, I want to go to Bali, you would not discover that from the customer.
That's right. So one of the funniest things is like for all of us who have done AI first and then Gen AI, right? So you don't know what the customer is going to ask you until the customer actually asks you. And so the guests, some of the crazy things which we would have never solved with traditional AI now, would be prompts that I see every day, like, hey, I want to go someplace warm. I want to go with my kids. I want to bring my dog because I love my dog more than some family members.
They want to bring their dog.
And how do you treat these words called, I love my dog more than some family members in a traditional search context, right?
What does an AI do with
So
that?
what does an AI do with that? So some of the things that are thrown with us are just so amazing. So one other one I remember was, there's some woman searching and she goes, hey, I want to take a big girls trip with 13 of my best friends. No husbands allowed. Where can I go? I don't know what place on this planet doesn't allow husbands, but these are the things that are thrown at you.
Yeah.
And now we got to make sense of it. So
it certainly paints a more nuanced picture than just searching for, I want to stay in a villa in Bali, right?
Absolutely.
One of the things I thought is really interesting about doing all of this is that the real advantage to us at this point is we have guests telling us, like declaring their interest from the moment they start their engagement with us.
Yeah.
So if we can find a way to do girls trips only where husbands are not invited, we can meet them right where they are. And that's a sort of kitschy way of saying if we can get in a position where we're doing individualization of trip planning or the correct home for that vacation, then we're winning. And that's the advantage we have to asking, what do you want to do?
Right. Well, such a cool product. I have to ask you both about how this collaboration came to be, because as I understand it, Publicis and Marriott have been working together for quite some time. You're both from fairly large organizations, right? Large organizations not known for innovation as much as maybe a small startup might be. Why did this work so well, and why were you able to release it so fast the way that you did in this kind of like iterative way that we're describing here?
Sure. It came out of partnership. Back in 2020, Marriott and Publicis Sapient agreed to take on joint outcomes on homes and villas. It was in the middle of COVID. Obviously, we all went through that experience and what that meant to the travel industry, and there was a lot of stress and pressure.
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity for us at Sapient to come in and say, we can alleviate some of that pressure by being the partner that delivers the product, the engineering for the next 5 years. And Marriott, to their credit, took that chance. And I think what made this most recent AI thing successful is that it wasn't on day one. Like, we had 2 to 3 years of building relationship and trust and actually attempting to achieve that shared outcome, which I really want to state is super important. Like, that's what makes us, I feel, successful. And then this idea came in where it's all shorthand. We're very quick to make a decision. We're very quick to start in on the project, and we're very quick to get results because we spent 3 years working together in a high pressure environment.
Yeah, and I'll take the second piece of the question, which was you're both big companies. How do you launch something so quickly? The war cry was that we want to be the first ones out there to get out of the destination box. And everybody just loves a war cry like that, where you actually truly, very, very seldom you get to do things where you can really claim that you're in the cutting edge and stuff like that, right? And to Marriott's credit, I think what Drew was talking about this morning also is how do you go about innovation in a large company, which I'm sure a question most of you deal with, right? And so Homes and Villas plays a great role there because of the way it has been set up, has been an independent platform, yet the customer base is the same. So how do you disrupt a multi-billion-dollar engine, because the risk profile is so high, no executive will sign off on it, on something as risky as Gen AI? So do you have a pocket of your business where you can empower people to take decisions? Because trust me, there are like 100 decisions a day that you need to do to put this out, right? So whether it was daily scrums, whether it was total trust into each other, and having one common outcome-based sort of mindset rather than a client partner-based mindset. So I think that really helps. So it feels like one team, and it feels like a startup actually, and that's the only way to do it. And now you take the startup and you take these learnings, because nobody had the answers to the questions we were trying to solve for. There was no playbook, there's nothing, right? But now we are learning to get some of those answers. I had never designed for tokens per minute, guys. I didn't even know what the heck that was. I always thought just throw more servers at it, and suddenly you can throw more servers at it.
Well, it's certainly a remarkable collaboration. It's a very cool product. I can't wait to see where it goes. Nitin, Ed, it's a pleasure. You could check out the search for AI for yourself, or check out the Publicis Sapient site using the QR code.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.